All right, everybody, welcome to Learning the Tropes. I'm your host, Erin, and I'm really excited because, as you all know, I have been a giant fan of the book, Daisy Jones and the Six, as well as someone who has been highly anticipating the series coming out. I have so I decided, since this podcast is now fully mine and I can do whatever I want with it, I'm going to only be bringing you guys things that bring me joy with people who bring me joy. So for the month of March, at least, it's going to be episodes about Daisy Jones and the Six. We'll be recapping those episodes. Maybe we'll have some special guests, guys. We don't know, but it's very possible. Come April, we are also bringing back a book review podcast or book review episodes. So I have already a few of those lined up. We have the highly anticipated Lord of Scoundrels. So stick around for that as well. And so when I was thinking about I needed to immortalize Daisy Jones and the Six with somebody, there was only one person who came to mind who I knew would do this with me. She is a huge Jones head as well as me. When she lives in Los Angeles, when we went to LA, we went to the Chateau Marmont in honor of Daisy. I got food poisoning, didn't take away from the experience. And so I'm so excited to introduce you guys to one of my dearest friends, a wonderful friend, a talented writer, and a fierce recluse. It's Taylor Holt. Hi, hun. How are you?
Hello. Oh my gosh, that intro just made my heart swell. It brought back memories. It made me laugh. It made me cry. Now I'm just even more excited to do this podcast with you. I can't.
This is such a dream. So how did we meet Taylor? Because I do feel like it's relevant to our expertise about talking about, well, Amazon's Daisy Jones and the Six, as well as the book.
Yes, I think that's a good point. We met in New York when I lived back in New York City, and we both wanted to be writers for television. And I quit my job and blew up my life.
Me too.
And yeah.
Well, I was fired, but same thing.
I also realized at one point I had quit my job without formally accepting my acceptance to Columbia University, and then realized that I might have lost my position, but I had already quit my job. And so I had to email the bursar and be like, please let me in. I got so excited. I saw the email, forgot to reply, went and quit my job, and then needed to beg my way back in.
I love. So we did the Columbia University summer program for TV writing, which was really fun. And it was basically, we had 4 or 5 hours a day of classroom, and then it was writing.
It was all day.
Yeah.
We would be over on the west side for the entire day. Shout out Alan Kingsbury.
We love him so much.
We love him.
Now he's the head of the Stony Brook TV Writers Masters program. If there's anybody out there who's interested, he's the most brilliant professor I've had, or gives the best notes. We love him so much.
Yeah, I still use his pilot questions.
Oh yeah.
Going through them when I'm writing, I'm like, oh yeah, what did Alan say? What does this character need to be motivation right now? Still use it.
Yeah, so we became good friends that summer, and then you fucked off to LA. I tried not to take it personally. We didn't talk for a while, and then I called you randomly one day, and I remember you were driving home from work, and I was just like, what are you up to? What's happening? And yeah, and then we just kind of became friends again. We were trying to write a script about the first woman to drive across country, which we should resurrect one day, because it was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's a great story. It needs to be told. I feel like it would be very relevant now, currently. Just feminism.
Yeah, she was great. There was no automatic steering, so she had arms of steel. She drove across country with her 2 sisters-in-law.
It's just a fantastic story. We really should bring it back.
I know.
One thing at a time, though. Let's do this podcast, and then
Yeah,
we'll
then we'll talk more about
see. This is what
Alice.
I yeah, Alice, that was her name. You are you love to have so many things going on,
I love
and
it.
I'm like, I need to focus on one thing.
Guys, yesterday, because Taylor has some very exciting things happening at work, and like we will share them if we can, if it like, but for now it has to be top secret. But she was telling me she's doing too much. She doesn't think she could do it. So last night we set up a time to call, and I called her, and she basically answered the phone. She's like, "Talk me into doing this," and I said, "Great, I will." She said,
And then I said, I don't know if I have
I couldn't have
time.
time. I couldn't have time to talk to you for that long." I looked down. We've been talking for over an hour. I was like, "Bitch, I think you do." Anyway, so I came to this book, I came to Daisy Jones. There was just a lot of so as we all know, producer Patty works in publishing, and so I regularly go into his company's website, look at the books that I would like my husband to buy, and then I just text him a list, and he comes through.
The
It,
perks. Oh, the
the
perks.
perks numerous. And so one of them was Daisy Jones and the Six. And I remember vividly, I was house sitting for my friend's parents, and they live up at the top of this hill in Connecticut. And there's this gorgeous pool. And I had this house to
Oh,
myself. And I picked up
ah,
Daisy Jones, and I was enthralled and in love and did not stop reading. And then immediately was throwing this book at everybody that I met, like buying it
yes.
for friends, calling people I hadn't talked to in years. Have you read it? And here's the thing. A lot of my friends did, because I have really good friends, and and when I give them a book, they do read it. But only one friend read it. Only one friend felt it in her bones the way that I felt Daisy in my bones, and that was
Yeah,
Miss Taylor Holt. And so,
yeah.
talk to me about your feelings around the book, reading it for the first time.
Reading it for the first time was honestly a blur because I read it in a day.
Yeah.
I blew through it because I was just like, this is speaking to my soul.
Hmm.
This is who I am. Like, I actually reread the first chapter last night, and it gets to the end where, like, it's not a spoiler, but Daisy just says, like, I am no one's muse, I am the somebody. And I was just like, like, ugh. And
Yes.
it just grabbed me and it hooked me. And I just like read it all through the night. I couldn't tell you where I was when I read it. I usually can tell you where I am when I read a book, like when I read a book
Mhm.
for the first time. Like I remember the couch that I was sitting on when I read the Gone Girl twist in
Mhm.
the middle. I remember exactly where I was. But like Daisy Jones and the Six, I don't know what it is about it. It's just something. It was so I was like so out of my body that I don't remember anything about the experience except for just how it made me feel. And I can't I I've never felt that way with a book
Yeah.
ever. And it's just like the women I it, I mean, we'll get into talking about it later, but it was just like it was exactly what I wanted in a book,
Mhm.
and it just was beautiful. And I remember, like, I was at a book club at the time, and I said, "Guys, we have to read this book. Like, we have to read this book." And then you said, "Have you read Daisy Jones and the Six?" And I almost started crying on the phone, like, "I found my person. Like, thank you." I need someone to share this with because it's overflowing in me right
Yeah,
now.
that's the feeling. And Taylor Jenkins Reid is obviously a brilliant writer. We all know this. This is fact.
Yes.
But I do
Yes.
like the way that she writes women, and the women in
Yes.
this book. I don't ever think that I have seen womanhood or women's experience in the way that women
Yes.
actually are. And also,
Mhm.
what she does so brilliantly, especially in this, in all of her books, but especially in this book, is that she writes how women actually interact and feel about each other. So all of the
Yes.
relationships between women in this book are so real, and are
Mhm.
relationships that like we've all had and can recognize. And they're also kind of exalted to a certain level that it's really beautiful. And the women in the books aren't like catty or mean spirited or um I because I started
Yeah, like
yeah.
cartoonishly evil or
No,
like, "Oh, this is
overly
the clear
sexual.
villain."
And like,
Yes,
listen,
yeah.
women are sexual. anyone who's listened to my podcast knows this. But in a way that like it's the way that women actually interact with their own sexuality. In that
Yeah.
it's not an easy exploration. It's complicated and it's complex. And I
It's not black and white.
mhm.
It's yeah, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
No, no, no. So I'm just saying, I think that's brilliant. We aren't going to spoil the book in this episode, guys. So if you haven't read the book, that's totally fine. Well, obviously, we're going to be doing a recap of every episode of the TV series. So we'll be spoiling the episode when we recap it, just so you guys know. And maybe in the future, we'll do an episode just about Daisy Jones, the book itself, and like
The
and
book.
really go through it. But it's not a romance novel, but I would say it's romance adjacent. And I would say there's some ambiguity at the end about the possibility of a happily ever after.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think and I did a panel a few weeks ago with some brilliant women, one of them being Essie Soga, and who's a editor at Berkeley. And she talked about how people think romance books are about the meet cute and then the happily ever after, and that's it. And
Mm,
that is, I kind of the trap a lot of romance novels are falling into right now, where they're focusing on how do they meet and how do they get together in the end. Or I would say those are
mm,
maybe the least important. It needs to be, what is the meat of it? Like, what is the
right.
journey to get them there? Like, that's the good stuff. And I would say this is such a good exploration of that vibe, of that journey, of the journey of people trying to interact and love each other when it's difficult to do so. And
Yes,
that's why, like, as a romance reader, I love this book. And I do think that this is very romance adjacent. And if you haven't read it and you love romance, I do think it's worth a read. Because it's just really beautifully
definitely.
done.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think yeah, when there's just I mean, not to spoil anything, but like when there's all these obstacles, outside, inside, internal pressures, external
mhm.
obstacles, hindrances, like that is a
Yeah.
romance. And that's the journey. The journey of it is the best part.
Yeah.
I think it is so interesting though also because the thing that always sticks out to me with the book, it's like what you said is the women and they're three-dimensional immediately right
Hmm.
off the bat, but also the way that their friendships is it feels like almost romance, like the way that they interact and the love-hate relationship between all the women in the book is just so touching and beautiful, and it's just like it gets me every time. That's the thing whenever I think about the book, I just think about like how the women interact with each other,
Hmm.
which is not really what you would think of
I know, for this book
when you
about a
think
60s rock and roll or a
yeah.
70s rock and roll band. Yeah, because I think the thing too that women know is the richness that you can get out of a female friendship, but that they're not
Mhm.
easy necessarily. Like they are
Right, and that's what's so
relationships.
interesting
Yeah.
yeah, this one is like they're not supportive of each
Well,
other,
not
but they're
always,
not
but it
but they're not, like, bringing each other down. They're
no.
like it's just real.
Yeah.
It's so real.
Right. We're like, I'm going to try to support you. I'll be here while you self destruct because I know eventually you will need me to step in. And so we'll do what has to be done. Yeah. And it feels so real. It's so beautifully done. And I think too, you know, Taylor Jenkins Reid talks about how this is like a quartet of books. And this is like the singer, the rock star, like fuck up is Daisy Jones. And I think it's so interesting because so often stories about women like Daisy, like real life women who existed,
Mhm.
like like a Marilyn Monroe or a Janis Joplin, they're always told from like men's idea of who this woman is and what they
Yeah.
projected. And what I think you get from this book is the idea that like women are able to do that. Women are able to project what they want to project. And women have a
Yes.
lot of autonomy over, I want you to see me in this way. I want to appear to the public in this way, and I want to appear to men this way. But that's not who they really
Mhm.
are. So that's what I love about the book is it talks about Daisy being like somebody who loves reading, somebody who really desperately wants love, wants connection, finds it really difficult. And like you said, sort of in those first few chapters when men keep trying to steal pieces of her. And finally she just stands up and she's
Mhm.
like, you can't take anything from me. Like I own myself entirely. And I just like love that.
Yeah. And to do it in a structure that's an oral history
Mhm.
is just like meta genius.
Is just phenomenal. Yeah.
It's incredible. And I love the first part where you do have men talking about her, but it's like a concierge at a hotel who's like, I wanted to protect her,
Mhm.
you know? But most of the time, it's a woman talking about herself. And as a reader, you're trying to guess, like, is she being honest with me? Is she lying to herself? Is she lying to just the audience? Like, what's going on? And that's how I think a lot of times we look at the women in our lives.
Mhm.
Like, or just the people in our lives, you know, what's real? What are they projecting? What am I projecting on them? And it just like tells you a lot about yourself too,
Yeah, and I
which a good book should.
exactly, and that's the thing too, and I think this book does such a good job of, like, playing with the idea of memory, and you see multiple
Yes.
people
Yes.
having a completely different experience of something that happened based on where they were mentally at the time, what happened subsequently, and you're able to see it in this oral history of, like, everybody's trying to tell their own story, and nobody's 100% right of how
Right.
things maybe went. Um, and then, I mean, we're not gonna be able to talk about the real twist of the book until the last episode, but,
Yeah.
we'll put
Yeah.
a pin in that. And then I think,
Okay,
yeah,
wait. I have a question
what's
though.
up?
So now that you just said that,
Mhm.
I didn't even really think about this, but to kind of like transition to the show a little bit,
Yeah.
how are they going to do that?
Mhm.
Like, how are they gonna show us that it is people's memories? Or even are they gonna do that? Are they gonna do is it just gonna be a straight retelling of the band as like a documentary? Or is it gonna be Daisy sitting down for an interview and saying, I wore a green top on stage and Billy sitting down and being like, I remember she was wearing a blue dress, you know? Are they gonna do that in the show?
I Okay, let's talk about the show then. No, I guess I think we have to be here because I we so Taylor has not interacted with any sort of media about the show and what it's gonna be necessarily. So let's talk
I
about
did one you sent me one Instagram, like, quick little reel, and I did watch the very, very first teaser
mhm,
where it's just, Riley Keough, like, lifting and winking at Sam Claflin.
yeah.
Like, that's what I watched, and then I watched the, super quick reel that you sent me, but I have not seen an aggressive trailer because I just this is this weird thing that I get when I hold something, like, when I really treasure something. It's not that I'm worried about the show. I'm not worried about the
Mhm.
show. I know I feel like it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. But I just wanna, like, uh, I don't know, I wanna, like, be surprised, I guess?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna watch the trailer together, and
Yes,
also
that being said, I will do that.
no, but I 100%, understand because I feel like after I read the book, I wanted to, like, crawl inside the book, and I wanted to live
Yeah.
there, and then every time I would come to visit you or my other friends in LA, I would always, like, want to create a bit of Daisy somehow, and so that was us going to the Chateau Marmont, which, like, listen, I
Yeah.
love so much, and if you haven't read The Castle on Sunset yet, it's a phenomenal book about the history of the hotel, and so that's a magical place,
Super
but just,
interesting.
like, they, I'm like it's so weird because the author is Taylor Jenkins Reid, your name is also Taylor, so it's hard to be like, "So Taylor says" so wait, so Taylor J TGR talks about
Let's call her, yeah,
yeah.
TJR.
TJR talks, it has so many actual places that exist in LA that they go to and interact with, and I oh, like, wanna like, I sent them into the Apple Pan, they talk about the Apple Pan, we gotta go there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I just loved it, and I'm like, buying gold hoops. I'm listening to Fleetwood Mac. Like, I am existing in this space.
Okay, but do you really identify with 70s culture?
I think I always was into 70s culture and I always liked the music a lot. And I think part of that is probably because my parents, like, that was their high school music. So that's like what we also listened to growing up. So
Mhm.
I always did love 70s in general. So I was already like pretty there. And then this really
You were,
solidified it
like,
for me.
well-versed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not.
No?
Like, I love Fleetwood Mac,
Mm-hmm.
listen to them all the time, but I was just never, like, super into the 70s. Like, I get it as a decade, obviously, and I know that I understand the
Mm-hmm.
appeal, but I was just never super sold on it or just, like, a big fan. So, it was kinda surprising when I just loved the book and I loved the world and I just wanted to, like, hang out in the world as much as possible and, yeah, jump literally into the pages of it.
Yeah. And so I get it. So it's a feeling with this book and this world that TGR has created that you feel like a homesickness or like a nostalgia, or it's very hard to explain because,
Mm.
like, obviously this doesn't exist. She made all this up from her beautiful head. But I think that, like, I don't under like, but I understand that feeling. And I think something that's interesting, like, as two of us, like, we're aspiring television writers, sometimes I will see an adaptation of a book that I loved and I'll be like mad, or I'll be like, "Oh, I wanted to work on that," or they're gonna get
Right.
it wrong. You start seeing, like, pictures from set and you're like, "Oh boy, this is not gonna go well." You know what I mean? And for as much as I
Yeah.
love this book, which is, like, as much as I pretty much can love a book, like, I remember when they announced that Riley Keough was playing Daisy Jones, and I was like, "We're in good hands, everybody. Everybody, we're gonna
We're
be fine."
good. So
Yeah.
true. It's so true. Like, that was the first piece where you just said, "I can
Yeah,
relax."
they got
Like,
this.
they got
Yes,
this.
and then Sam Claflin as Billy Dunn also inspired as far as because,
Just
like, we were all thinking Billy
yeah.
Crudup when we read it. I mean, I was at least.
Wait, have we talked about this
No,
before?
but this is a universal experience.
Is it really?
Well, because
Okay,
I feel
because
like
that's
it's, like, almost
exactly
famous, and so then everybody was just kind
right,
of
yeah,
thinking
it's almost
yeah.
famous. That is wild though, because I was like, "Oh, it's Billy Crudup,"
Yeah.
like, obviously.
But then Sam Claflin, and then it was a great because here's the thing too. This is my problem I have with Hollywood. Taylor and I have talked about this extensively with our other friend Claire as well. Shout out to Claire. Um,
Shout out writers
Shout
group.
out to our writers group. There is a dearth of sexy men in Hollywood, and I feel like we need to start talking about it. And
Yes.
so people are lovely men, I'm sure, lovely guys. I don't know them personally, but they're not fuckable. And, like, they're not like they don't have that, like,
They just don't
sex appeal, or they don't have that,
yeah,
like, he fucks. And here's the thing about Sam
you
Claflin,
need the
like,
oozing
yeah, Sam Claflin
you need to
fucks, and
ooze.
that's what I and thank God you got a man who fucks in there,
Yeah.
because if I had got some, like, neutered pretty boy,
Yeah.
I would have been like, "Guys, we're back off track." We're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
The casting of Billy and Daisy is so spot on perfect that then I really did feel like I could relax because I'm like, "Okay, these people get it."
Yeah. They read the book, they saw it in their
Mhm.
mind, and then they put that page to the screen perfectly.
Yeah. And so this is like, obviously I would have given my left tit to write on this show, but I'm fine that I didn't. And I'm so excited to watch it. And I'm so happy that I get to experience it 100% as an audience member. Let it
Yeah.
wash over me.
Yeah.
Taylor and I'm talking about you. What's your middle name?
It's
Okay.
Rachel,
Taylor,
so
Rachel, Holt, and I were talking.
wait, but let's start calling Taylor Jenkins Reid TJ.
TJ. Okay.
TJ. I am Taylor, she is TJ.
TJR, though, because her name isn't
But
TJ.
I know, but it's just TJ. TJ feels so like it feels
Okay.
fast. TJR, it like kind of takes a little bit to say. TJR. TJ. Tej. We call her Tej.
Yeah, but I remember you and I talking about, like, if we come into any money, what we're gonna do is we're gonna rent a room or bungalow, depending on how much our windfall is from nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some champagne, and we're gonna watch the whole series, like, curtains closed, in the dark,
Curtains
no
closed.
talking, no cell
No
phones,
talking. Curtains
and
closed.
that
Room
obviously
service
room
only.
service only, leave it outside the door, we'll bring it in when we're ready, and I think that didn't come to pass, unfortunately. We're saving also the
Not
chateau.
yet.
Well, we're not watching the show at the chateau. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, but we didn't say live technically.
Okay, so I guess we still could.
So, semantics. We could do
I
it.
mean, we still have that place as the first time one of us sells or does a big thing. That's where we're going to celebrate.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
anyway, but that's how much we loved it and how excited I am. Like, I'm also trying to stay away from spoilers and stuff. Like, I'm okay to watch this trailer, but I haven't been like digging through the way that I would dig through before because
Right.
yeah, I do want to be surprised and I do want to see kind of how they do it.
Yeah. I think I just don't really like going in. I keep my expectations pretty low
Mhm.
usually, and because I just like to I want to just be I want to love it. I never want to go into something and be like, "Ugh, I don't like
Right.
this," or like already having bad preconceived notions about something.
Mhm.
And so if I just don't know anything about it or I don't like read any articles, I don't like look on Deadline, then I'm just like, "Oh, I'm going in expecting to like it," and then I do,
Yeah.
you know?
That's good. All right, should we watch this trailer and then start
Yeah, let's do
talking?
it. Okay.
Also, the showrunner is Will Whistler Graham, who is the same showrunner from the League of Their Own series, which was fantastic. So that's the other thing that makes
I,
me think this is going to be good.
he knows how to do period.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to share my screen.
This could be dangerous.
Let me know when you can see it. Can you see?
No. Oh, yes. Okay.
You got it?
Full screen it, please. Yep. Oh, she just looks like her. Like she
It's
looks
just
exactly like I pictured.
listen, if we ever talk to TJR and the invite is open, we'll come to your house.
TJ, please come on our show. If you
Yeah.
don't like us calling TJ, we won't call
No,
you
we'll call
TJ. You
you
can be Taylor.
anything. We'll change
I
Taylor's
will
name. She'll be
change
Rachel.
I will legally change my name. No, I won't even be Rachel. I'll be like Maud or something like truly horrible so that TJ doesn't feel any competition. Not that there would be.
No. Okay. All right, you ready?
Yes. I have not seen this. Like I haven't even seen this like image.
Okay, ready? Let's wait. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Fuck yeah.
Oh. Yes.
Well, the one that I saw, it was them all sitting down. So they're doing it like a behind the music where they're all gonna talk to camera.
Oh, love that,
Just
love that.
perfection. Like that's what they should be
Perfect.
doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's that looks I'm dead on the floor. Like that looks amazing. Right?
Yes. The problem here's the thing, I would never be good at those reaction videos, like, that you see on YouTube all the time because my jaw is just on the floor the entire time, and I don't wanna talk through
Mhm.
anything. Like, I don't wanna miss a moment, but, like, ah, chef's kiss. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be
It
beautiful.
looks amazing. And I think that that brings us to another question that we've both had with each other, and I've had with a few of you who have DM'd me because if at any moment anyone out there wants to talk about Daisy Jones, they know who to come to, and they come to me. Is Amazon is doing a weird release schedule where they're dropping 3
Yes.
the first night, then 2, 2, then 3 on, like, consecutive Friday nights, which normally when they do episodes like that, it's like a dump when they don't have faith behind it, and I just don't understand why it's not a weekly release because this is a
This
show
would
that, like, would build an audience and also, like, looks amazing, looks so
Yes.
good. So
Yes.
I'm just confused by the thought process there.
Yes. I don't understand it at all. I don't. I think this would be like a water cooler show.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, do they not have enough money because of Lord of the Rings? Like, did that crush Daisy Jones? Like, what's happening? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I it also just feels like such a rich and vibrant world that you don't want to be overindulged with it. Like 3 episodes feels too much.
Yeah.
I'm not watching 3 episodes a day. I'm watching 1 a day and I want to sit and live in it. Even if we weren't doing this podcast, that's what I would be doing. Like it just feels like it's a piece of cake and you're trying to make us eat the whole cake
Exactly.
in 3 hours and I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my slice because it's so rich.
Mhm.
Like just like those colors and the looks between each other, the big vibrancy of it all. What is Amazon doing?
Yeah.
This is the book also. This is what you bought. Like this is what you paid for.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, obviously we don't know yet and we're not gonna know, but it seems to be like a pretty faithful adaptation. Like there was
Yeah,
nothing in there that I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like everything
right.
makes sense. And so yeah, and so just so you guys know kind of the way that we'll release it, we're gonna release 1 episode recap a week. So we are going to end up ultimately being behind the show's release dates. Um and what we might do is on Patreons release stuff a little bit earlier, but otherwise we're doing that. Anyway, so just for that reason too, because we want to kind of live in it, we want to kind of enjoy it. I don't want it to be kind of like we talk about 3 episodes at once because I think that can get really confusing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just so you know, if you want to do an episode a week with us, come on. I mean, we'll be doing this for a little while, for 2 months or so, but
Yeah, cuz what they're 10
there's 10
episodes?
episodes.
Yeah, 10 weeks.
Hmm.
Easy.
Done. We got it.
Everybody should be listening and watching
Yeah.
on our schedule. On our
Yeah,
schedule.
exactly. Everybody.
Make Amazon regret what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm just interested. I would just like to, I'm not mad. I just want to understand Amazon.
I'm just disappointed,
I
Amazon.
just don't
Like,
quite understand what you're thinking here, but
I feel like this has also been proven.
hmm
Like, all the things that have come out, you know, it's been proven that to go back to the once a week release has actually created buzz and created more eyes instead of just doing, the Netflix release where you just dump the whole season
Yeah.
in one weekend.
And I understand doing like releasing 3 episodes to start and then
Yeah.
doing weekly. Like, that's what
Like Andor.
okay.
Did you watch Andor?
No, of course not. But I didn't
Okay.
want
It's one of the greatest shows of all time. I'll just say, but this is what I'm
yeah.
saying. Andor they did the 3 episode premiere,
Mhm.
and then they did 1 episode a week. And it got, I mean, maybe this is just like the Star Wars world, but like all of a sudden it was like critics were raving, word of mouth was growing, people like it started to, get more eyes on it, and like I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, they did that with Poker Face on Peacock, which I'm loving.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's enough it like gets you hooked into the story because I think that's the thing and that's like the trouble with pilot episodes, which like we've talked about before, but it's like you have to set up a whole world, tell a complete story, introduce these characters. It's a lot. So I think watching 1 or 2 or 3 episodes to start like makes sense. Like that's fine. But yeah, but
Yeah.
then go to once a week because exactly like you said, people find it or there is something to anticipation and there is something to like having a week to think about an episode and what do you think is
Yeah.
going to happen next? And when this happened, do you think that that means this is going to happen next? Like with Succession or something, that's like half the fun of watching that show is the week between episodes
Yes.
when everybody's just talking about like, "Oh, do you think this is gonna happen next episode?" And you
Yeah, all
lose
the
it.
theories. If you release 3 episodes a week, you don't have time for theories.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to figure out the puzzle, which, like, this doesn't really have a puzzle, but there's twists
No, there's definitely twists.
in the book, at least.
Well, and I think the thing too is, TJ is so good at side characters, and all of her books do
Yes.
interconnect, and there are so that's what's fun about a TV show versus like if you were to do a film adaptation of this book is you can have time where you can follow a side character for a little bit or because
Yeah.
they're all so rich and there's so many places like it'd be fun to go with Simone to like whatever she's going through with like her record label or something or
Yeah.
I don't know there's a ton of people see what Camilla's life is when she's not with Billy just things that we didn't really get a chance to see but I think
Yeah.
that aside, which also they could have done, but they just did it, and they're just releasing it this way, which obviously, like, the creators of the show don't have any control over, so, um,
Yeah,
that's
there's
beside the
gotta
point.
be maybe on one of these episodes, we can have Jeff Bezos as a guest and just really grill him on the release schedule of Daisy Jones and the
And I
Six.
feel like of the things that Bezos needs to get grilled for, this release schedule is probably the top of the list for things we wanna find out what's going on, we wanna get to the bottom of.
Save the world? No,
No.
thank you. Why did you release 4 episodes
It's
of
gonna be
Daisy?
like, "Huh?" No.
He's like, "Oh, I'll do this podcast every week if that's the only questions
What
you're
if we
gonna be
just did
asking
a
me."
podcast called Softballs, and then we just had, like, controversial figures on and just asked them, like, the easiest questions? We're like, "What was your favorite color growing up, and what is it now?" You know?
That would be fantastic. And then, like, the series finale, we have them all back and we just sucker punch them all and ask them, the real questions that the world just needs to know, and then we make them donate $1 billion to s cure cancer or
I don't know.
feed orphans.
To, get labor unions going, because that's what we need in this country is more
Yes,
labor
that's
unions. This is how we're gonna end every show talking about the importance of unions. Union strong, everybody.
let's just end on, like, a really, really
Yeah.
serious note. Ugh. Were there other questions that we
That was
missed?
our we went through everything that we said we were going to do. So I
Okay.
think I mean in conclusion, I think this episode was basically to introduce you, which I think we have, talk about how much we love the book, which I think we have, talk about how excited we are
Yeah.
for the series, I think we have, explain how we're going to release it, we have. So, I mean, we've kind of done everything unless there's anything else that you want. Well, this is maybe good. And maybe if you can't tell this with spoilers, then we'll put a pin in this. But is there like a scene in the book that you're most looking forward to seeing played
Mm.
out?
I don't know if I can say it without spoilers because it is like I'm just really intrigued to see how they do the twist,
Okay.
like the big twist. But I have
Talk
like
about
a
knowing
part
where
of me
you were.
wonders.
I remember I was sitting by the side of the pool and I stood up. I was alone. My body was like, we need to get vertical. What just happened? There
Convulsing.
was nobody to talk to, but I was standing up.
At least you didn't fall in the pool. Like
No, I maybe I could have. I should have. I needed to cannonball. I needed to get out of my body because I was so overwhelmed. Um,
that would, yeah. It was overwhelming.
yeah.
That's what it was. I was just like, okay, but here's my worry because they can't
We
I
can't
just
like
wonder
tip
if they're
our
gonna
hand.
like
I know we'll see. I think we'll be able to talk about it in the thing, but it's going to be harder to do. But I have faith.
I have faith. I'm just wondering if they're not going to make it a twist at all, and it's going to be something
Oh,
from the very beginning
that'd
of
be
the first
such a
episode where it's like,
bummer.
this is it. You know what I mean, though? You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
really hope they don't.
I hope they don't either because it's such a huge part of it. But I just wonder.
Yeah.
You, this is where we got to wonder how involved TJ is in the making of the show
Hmm.
because she would like stop that in its tracks.
But I wonder how much she had creative input. Like like obviously she was a producer and everything because she wrote the book, but I think authors there's like levels. Like I know like
Yeah.
Diana Gabaldon for Outlander, like they go to her for questions and things like that all the time, and other adaptations they just don't acknowledge that there's an author. I don't think that those are the best ones. And then
Yeah.
so I just wonder, kind of where she was with this. It'd be
Right.
interesting. Again, come on, if it's
When
open. We'll do it
she,
literally
when
anytime,
she,
anywhere,
yep.
whatever you want. We're here. We'll try to be cool. We'll try to be so cool.
We will be
We will be
cool. We
cool.
will be cool.
Pat was like, if you did meet her, what do you think it'd be like? I was like, have you ever seen Chris Farley interview Paul McCartney? Because that would be what would be happening inside. Externally, I think I could do it, but it'd be tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
I think, yeah. I would be able to play it pretty cool, but like, I mean, I've met some people in my day. Don't want to like brag or anything, but this would be like the one that I'm just like, I love your work. I, I would just want to talk. I would just keep her on the podcast for hours. That would be the
No,
problem. I would
she would
never
need
let
to
her.
give us a time limit. Also, the two of us,
Yeah, we would
we're
hold her
talkers,
hostage.
and so we would
Yes.
talk forever. We need a hard limit so that we
Yeah,
shut up.
this was supposed to be what, like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And
I love how you're very worried about like, do I have time? How long are the episodes gonna be? I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll fill the time. Um, but
listen, my agent has been calling me this whole time, being like, "Get off your podcast. Go start writing again."
you have an agent?
No, it was a
Oh,
joke.
okay. Yes.
It was not a joke. It's real. I have an agent, but they're terrible, and I'm looking for new
All
representation.
right, anybody out
Wink,
there,
wink.
if you know any reps who want to rep Taylor, get in touch. Learning the Tropes podcast at gmail.com. We'll forward it. Do you have okay, so mine, you didn't ask, but I will answer.
Oh yes,
Mine
sorry.
is a
What
really
would yours be?
small scene that I thought was so beautifully done. And I'm interested if it will make it in because it's not like a major plot point. But I just always think about and love the scene when they're all in LA and they're living in that house, the band, the
Mhm.
six.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's before they meet Daisy or after, but Camilla comes to visit and Camilla wants burgers. No,
Mhm.
either Camilla wants pancakes or Camilla wants burgers, but everybody else wants the opposite of what she wants. And so she's like, okay, no problem. We'll get you what you want. But real quick, and she asks some little questions and just does a few little things and ultimately gets what she wants. And no one realizes that she's completely changed it so that like now she's getting what she wants, which is like,
Yeah.
I think burgers. And I just love that. And it showed exactly like who Camilla is and
Mm.
how she like the power that she has and how smart she
The way
is
that
and the
yeah, the
way
way
that she
she
interacts with the
operates.
world. And I thought it was like it was a scene that I absolutely loved. And I hope it's in there, but it's such a small scene. I can see it not being, but yeah, I love it.
But it's like you said, that is such a deep dive into her
Mhm.
character in the most fun, menial way that it would make a lot of sense to include it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope
I feel
so.
like it could be in
Who
there.
knows? Maybe there's a different scene that sort of exemplifies that for her, but I yeah, it's just like a brilliant small scene. Um,
Yeah. I am excited for the music
the music looks
because
amazing.
it sounded so good in that trailer. That was the other thing that I was just like not I didn't want to listen to it. Like I didn't want to listen to any music for it
Mhm.
because I just wanted to like be watching it in the moment, but that sounded so good because that's the hardest thing is like music that is fake and is supposed to be really really good, you know, when you write in a book that something is a number 1 hit and then you hear it in real life and you're like that would never be a number 1 hit.
But no, this sounds so good. And that I love that TJR wrote the lyrics out for all these songs and was like, these are the
Yeah.
biggest songs of the 70s. Here are the lyrics. And somebody had to then come and write that music and create that. If anybody who worked on that aspect of the show ever
I
hears
would
this and wants to come on, like, please do, because that would be so fun
love to
too.
talk to that person.
Yeah.
Love
Well, I heard
to.
Phoebe Bridgers was involved maybe, which is
Oh my
so
gosh,
cool.
yes.
I mean, if she wants to come on,
If she that'd be
that'd be
amazing.
insane. But yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds 70s, it sounds specific. We all know what's the greatest song ever written to be a song in a movie that a band plays?
You mean like a fake song?
Yeah.
Is there a specific one that I should be
Yeah,
thinking
there's
of?
only one answer.
Oh, is it It's a Star Is Born Shallow?
No.
Okay, because I didn't like that movie.
That's
Ugh.
crazy. Okay, well, we're not gonna talk about that because we need to stay
I think I saw it in a bad place in my life, and I think
friends.
if I watched it again, I would like it.
Okay,
But like
we'll watch it again.
that, we'll watch it again. Um, was there a song in Almost Famous?
No. I mean, there were songs, but
And
it's not what I'm thinking of. There's only one answer.
wait, give me a clue on the
It's
movie. Give me a
the
clue on the
60s. It's a
movie.
first-time writer-director.
It's a musical.
It's about a band in the 60s.
It's set in the
Yes.
60s.
And it was made in the 90s, I think.
Is it about a real band?
No.
It was made in the 90s. Oh my gosh.
Do you want the band name?
Yes.
The Wonders.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm so mad at myself. I'm so mad at myself right now. You are absolutely right. What is wrong with
Yes.
me?
There's only one
Oh,
answer.
it's one of my favorite movies too. We have talked about this. Oh, I'm so mad at myself right now. I really pride myself on my film knowledge and I just absolutely shit the bed and the Learning the Tropes audience is gonna be like, "This girl doesn't know what the hell she's talking about." Oh, I'm so mad. I'm
So
so
obviously it's
mad.
that thing you do from the film of the same name, and it's the greatest song
Ugh.
ever written for a fake band ever.
I'm getting to the Shrimp Shack Shooters, like, oh. That was my Twitter handle for a while.
What? Captain Jack and the Shrimp Shack
Captain
Shooters?
Captain Ge Captain
Geek.
Ge Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters. I love that movie so much. I'm so mad at myself right now. Oh, but you're absolutely
Yeah,
right. You're absolutely right. That is the only
it's
song.
the
For
only
me to go
answer.
to A Star Is Born first. Oh,
No. Listen, Blue is a great song,
Taylor.
but that's not the song. The song is That Thing You Do. I remember when I used to work at the busiest bar you can imagine, me and my 2 friends, and we would have our DJ at one point in the night play That Thing You Do, and then, like, the 3 of us would
Yes.
create this scene where they hear it for the first time and they start, like, jumping around.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
would
yeah,
just be
yeah.
for me and the other 2 waitresses. No one knew what was happening. We were
Ugh.
having the time of our lives. We would scream, run towards each other in this
Yeah.
packed bar, and then just start jumping around in a circle.
Would you jump around in the circle and then someone would grab a cardboard cutout and kiss it and smack it like Steve Zahn, and then another person screams, "I am Spartacus!"
No, we never got that far. Normally, our manager would be like, "You're back to work."
Ugh.
He would just yell at us, but we would have so much fun, and the DJ would
He sounds like Shades' father. Like, how dare he?
Gareth, yeah, he definitely was. He was a great
Ugh.
ass. Anyway, we all love that movie. It's
I love that
perfection.
movie. Yeah, you're absolutely right, though.
Yeah.
If they can achieve the heights of That Thing You Do, we're in good
I mean,
hands.
that's also almost impossible. So that's I mean, honestly, listen, I'm gonna love this show. I know I'm gonna love this music, but are they gonna reach That Thing You Do? It's hard. Let's see. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
open to it,
yeah.
obviously, but yeah, but that's the
All you have to
gold
do
standard.
is that is the gold standard, you're absolutely right. And all you have to do is repeat the 4 words over and over again.
But the beat is so catchy. You
I don't wanna sing it, I have a terrible singing voice, but, like, I'm singing it in my
We
head.
all are. It's impossible not to. And you're smiling because it's impossible not to smile.
It really is, like, you just think of that song and that movie and you just smile. It's just, like, even the colors,
Mhm.
ugh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and
It's
talk about a
beautiful.
movie with
Okay.
no conflict. The conflict was Fame, and that was it, and I love it because whenever you're in, like, a
Yeah.
screenwriting course or television writing, they're like, "What's the conflict? What's the conflict?" And they were like, "How about this movie? No conflict, except for somebody has to
No conflict.
decides to join the Marines, and everybody kinds of falls apart. Jimmy's an asshole.
What's the what's the catalyst? Someone breaks his arm.
Yeah, somebody tries to jump over something and falls. He tries to jump over a parking meter and breaks his arm, as you do.
Guys, guys, Chad fell down.
Um, all right. Not to make this a That Thing You Do podcast because we could switch there
Apparently it
very
is now.
quickly. We're talking about Daisy Jones and the Six. We need to come up with a learning the tropes in the Six, or like what these episodes are going to be called.
Yeah. I haven't I mean, you heard my
What was
pitch.
yours?
Aaron Leaf and the Two
Yeah, but
Taylors.
there's only one Taylor.
But it's Taylor Jean Dupree is
Oh,
the other Taylor, and I'm the second Taylor.
it's too much. I honestly, it's like uh Daisy Jones. It's
It
like
is a
it's
lot.
either like
You know
Daisy Jones and the Tropes.
yeah. You know me and my long titles. I love a good
You
long
do. Learning the
title.
Tropes in the Six. I don't know. We're gonna come up. There will be something that you guys are looking at right now, and we will have decided on it.
Yeah.
Um.
It might take us a minute, but we'll get there.
All right, Taylor.
Eh,
So at the end of every Learning the Tropes episode, we do talk about what has us swooning. So other than our excitement about Daisy Jones, that coming out this Friday, March 3rd on Amazon, is there anything else you're watching or reading, or anything that you're really loving?
Anything that I'm swooning over. Well, I already swooned over Andor, and I'm not currently watching that because it's over, but like I really do recommend anybody watch
That's
it.
a good one.
Even if you don't like Star Wars, it is a fantastic show. It's about just like everything that is wrong with the world right now, and it's really dark and gritty, and it's the exact opposite of Daisy
Mhm.
Jones. Like it's not escapism, it's what we need to be doing to make the world a better place.
Okay.
um that's what I'm going to go with right now.
That's a good
I'm
one.
still swooning over it. It's been like a month or two since it ended, but I still think it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to swoon over Andor.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's not a very romantic.
No, it's not, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be. Swoons don't have to be romantic. They can be anything.
I'm trying to think of what else I'm watching then.
That's good. I mean, I think
I got to look at my TV Time app. I'm swooning over the TV Time
you
app.
introduced me to the TV Time
Love
app,
it.
which I use every single day of my life.
If I'm not clicking one episode a day, I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening. Like, I'm not.
Everybody, so the TV Time app, that'll be what I swoon about, is an app that you download and then
Okay.
you put in the episode, you put in the shows that you're watching, and it'll tell you when there's a new episode, how many episodes left. It's a really fun.
What episode you're currently
Yes.
on, if you, like, have been off of a show for a while.
And it's great too because I feel like now with streaming and there's so many different sources for TV, it's not like before where you just had like your one TiVo screen where you could be like, this is what's new. It's like, I don't know when
Oh,
episodes come
yeah.
that are new. So this keeps track of that. It's like, oh, you have a new episode of this to watch. So it's always fun to see that too. Um,
And it tells you how many hours of television you've watched in your entire life, which I love looking at because I'm like, I haven't wasted a moment of my life.
TV, guys, we love TV. TV's the best. Books are great. TV's great. Movies are great. We love media.
Content is
We
great.
love content.
Content is
We
great.
love it. All right, guys. So you can follow Learning the Tropes at Learning the Trope Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter. If you want to email us your thoughts about the show, questions, ideas, anything, you could always email us at Learning the Tropes Podcast at gmail.com. And until next week, happy watching.